Action Shelf. The Action Shelf. The Action Shelf.
Welcome to The Action Shelf. The podcast celebrates the glory of B-action movies. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Michael Listman.
Oh, Listman, you know, sometimes doing this job, as we often talk about, is harder than other times when we record this show. And we've been lucky, I feel like, the last... We kind of, as we were talking about last week, we've kind of sandwiched ourselves some quality months here.
Right. Last month was a hodgepodge of horrors.
A hodgepodge of stuff that was basically, as we said, it was sort of us going like, these are some things that we've talked about talking about, so let's all put them here right now.
We just needed to get them out of the way so that we can move on with our lives.
That was us clearing out the closet of the show.
Exactly.
Like,
spring cleaning.
I think all those movies had been on the potentials list for a long time. We're like, we just need to get rid of these.
Should that be a thing? Like, in spring, do a spring cleaning and just do a month of stuff that we've been talking about doing.
That's a good
for a
idea, because we do keep an extensive Google Doc of just potential movies we can do, and this is the intense planning of the show. Is just it's mostly you and I just sending each other stupid movie posters and going, "Could we talk about this?"
And a lot of planning happens in episode as well.
Yes.
So
when we're digging through people's IMDb's and going, "We should watch more of this guy's stuff," or the reverse sometimes when we go, "We never want to watch anything this person was involved in."
Jesus Christ. The cat just tried to jump on me but failed, so...
look at that. Our show has action in it itself. So,
Jesus Christ, it scared the shit
But this is a long way to say that welcome to June, and this is a very special month for us because we're calling this June Claude Van Damme.
we are. And this month we have a month's worth of guests.
These are all... beloved guests from across the show that we've had before. We're kicking things off with the return of Maggie Torres.
It's me. I've returned for my boy.
So not only Spooky is here on the podcast, but so is Maggie.
Your whole household is here, Lisman.
Yeah.
Spooky is known as my better half, so.
And then I'm also here.
And then Michael also lives here.
And that other guy who lives here.
Yeah.
The guy who does all the dishes. I don't know.
But yeah, the big thing we did Van Damme Valentine's last year, which was a tribute to our boy JCVD. But we decided this year to mix it up a little bit. June Claude Van Damme is focusing specifically on young Van Damme movies. These are
early works,
early in his career, early in his leading man career, because he did some supporting stuff which we're not covering. We may at some point. I do want to do that movie where he's the bad guy to Shokasugi at some point too.
He plays such a good bad guy.
He does play a good bad guy.
He doesn't mind being a little unhinged, and I love that for him.
I do too. That one of the best of the sort of not as good later day movies we did was, I don't even remember was it Enemies Closer? Is that what it was called?
I think so. That was the one where he was a villain.
Yeah. Is that the one on the lake?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of riverboats.
That one was the only reason I enjoyed that movie.
And of course
it was terrible.
Yeah. And of course there was the one where he was both the hero and the villain playing dual roles.
Yeah, he's done that a lot. We could have done a whole month of that.
We have talked about that. We are going to finish this month with a double Van Damme movie, though, so don't worry, folks. That's on its way. But we're starting things off with 1989's Kickboxer.
Yes, Kickboxer.
Oh, Kickboxer. This is from our good friends over at the Canon Entertainment Group.
Was this Canon?
This was Canon.
Okay, I saw Lionsgate at the beginning of the movie.
Well, I think since Canon is defunct, I think a lot of their library got bought up.
Okay.
So I think the home video rights now belong to Lionsgate, but this was originally made by the Canon Entertainment Group.
Gotcha. Okay.
Our boys over our as they were lovingly referred to as in the Hollywood industry, for real, they were called the Go-Go Boys.
They were called the Go-Go
Golan
Boys.
and Globus, the Go-Go Boys.
Did you say Nolan and Globus?
Golan.
Golan?
Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus were the heads. They were two crazy guys from Israel who made action movies in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
Those were their last names.
Yes.
Okay, because I was
Golan,
like,
yeah.
That's a very interesting first name. That makes so much sense.
Golan and Globus.
Okay,
This was them. And they this is coming off of he had just made for them the beloved classic Bloodsport.
Right. Yes. So the director and writer of this movie wrote Bloodsport. Is that correct?
Mark DeSalle is who is.
I mean, these two films are essentially the same movie.
Yeah, it was sort of like. I mean, they were both designed for the same reasoning, right? Which is this guy produced Bloodsport.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I knew
produced
he was
Bloodsport, and then he and Van Damme are credited with the story for this, and he is the director as well.
Okay.
So so Kickboxer from 1989.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a movie! What a movie!
So here's. I feel like this is a grass is always greener scenario because when we watch a lot of more current stuff, we are often bogged down by the self-seriousness, the lack of like I don't know. I think the tone for more modern ones and probably the budget being so much lower for a lot of more modern action shelf movies.
Because this was a film that came out in theaters. Cannon made lower budget by Hollywood standards, but still legitimate films, and much more so than what we see a lot of today.
So when we watch a lot of more modern stuff, I find myself wanting like the silly, the note, like not even trying to be realistic, just making something entertaining.
Yeah.
And I will say that is here.
I was going to say.
But then the grass is always greener part of it is that then you get some more problematic material.
Oh God, yeah,
yeah. And this movie was rife with quite a bit of stuff that made us incredibly uncomfortable.
Sure.
So it is, but it is this is what these movies were. And I think it's a really good depiction of it, especially of like Van Damme's time at Cannon, So
definitely, this is an interesting because this is as we're covering. This is early Van Damme, so Van Damme will ascend to like A-list Universal. By the time you got Time Cop and Hard Target and Sudden Death, those are summer blockbuster pictures.
Right.
So he's on the ascent here. And of course, the famous story was he so badly wanted to be a movie star, he just camped out in the front office of Cannon until they took a meeting with him.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not I know. It's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
And he would just do demonstrations. He would just do his kickboxing demonstrations. And I mean, because eventually they were just like, okay, kid, what do you got? And then they saw him do the kicking. And they were like, I think we can do something with this.
Because he's a very talented martial artist.
Extremely, yeah.
And he's really great at showing it on camera as well.
That's
even here.
That I think has always been key. Having done Bloodsport and then this at this point is there are people who are great fighters, but he is a great cinematic fighter.
Yes, yeah, and they are very different. They are very different things.
And I also think at this point there'd been a lot of kung fu movies, there'd been karate movies. I don't think people at the movie audience really seen what kickboxing looks like.
Yeah, Muay Thai is definitely not as much, at least at this time, was not as much of a thing. Now Muay Thai is very, very popular.
Absolutely, a big stuff like
because of this movie.
Yeah, just because of this movie.
No other reason.
I would also say quite a bit now with the Raid movies have really pushed forward a lot of that's mixed martial arts, but there's a lot of Muay Thai in those movies.
Yes, definitely. The Raid, and honestly, Muay Thai is used a lot in like UFC and stuff like that as well.
Absolutely.
So that also probably has helped in prominence. It is interesting to see this early, like a Western film highlighting Muay Thai.
Absolutely, I'm just as I've been looking at the background of this movie. This movie stars not only Jean-Claude Van Damme, but at the time Jean-Claude Van Damme's childhood best friend, who plays the villain in this movie. Who was also, and they both came to Hollywood together, hoping to break into movies.
That's cute.
And that's Michael Kesey, is how I think you pronounce that name.
Wait. He plays
Tong Po. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He's also in Bloodsport as well. And
was he?
Yeah,
because I know Bolo was in.
He doesn't
the main villain of
he
that.
does not have a super big part in Bloodsport, but Van Damme got him in that, and then got him in this, and we'll also see him in a couple weeks in Lionheart when we cover that.
Great, yeah, they just continue to work together. That's great.
He was kind of Van Damme.
Besties.
Yeah, Van Damme kept this guy around, and I think also it looks like his brother as well,
Gotcha.
Abdel Kesey, who are, I believe they're Israeli. Oh,
Yeah,
Belgian
officiated
Moroccan.
their
Sorry.
wedding.
Yeah. So I mean, some of that's one of his guys.
Yeah.
And I think he does return as the villain in Kickboxer 2.
Sweet.
Though Van Damme does not come back for Kickboxer 2, so that's kind of a huge.
And
Instead,
Scott eventually takes over the franchise. Is that correct? Scott Adkins.
Scott
Or am I
Adkins.
thinking-
No, it's not. That's undisputed.
That's undisputed that he took over. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
we did see the guy who took over the Kickboxer, because I want to get to the later Kickboxer movies where Van Damme does eventually come back to the franchise and
Gotcha.
becomes the trainer character.
Oh, like Rocky or like in Creed, essentially.
Yeah. Alain Moussi is the guy who ended up taking over the Kickboxer franchise. We did see him in something, because I think I remember talking. What did we see him in? I'm looking.
Great question. Let me see. This is great audio.
He's
by
in
the way.
Jingle All the Way.
Don't think he's Jingle All the Way.
Oh, we saw him in Jiu-Jitsu with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Nicolas Cage. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was not
I wouldn't say that was in any way. I have very little reaction to him in that movie. So
sure.
But anyway, we'll have to get back to the Kickboxer franchise. Because Kickboxer Vengeance is the first of those. You also, in that, you have Dave Bautista as the bad guy. So
Okay.
yeah, we love Dave Bautista over here. So
We sure do.
but here we are back where it originally started in Kickboxer Prime. This is Prime Hunk Van Damme.
Yes.
No question about
Right now, he is Jean-Claude Van Goddamn.
Don't laugh at that. That's not good.
I'm laughing at the audaciousness that he said it more than the actual comment itself.
Fair,
Which is a
fair.
lot of the laughter on the show is more like, I can't believe anyone said that. Yes. This is, as I said, 1989, Mark Dessau. We have a few here that have at least a story, if not a full screenplay credit given to Van Damme.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But as we were talking about, like, when you go back to this era, it's almost, I almost want to go like, what, screenplay?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a story here, other than
the
brother is a kickboxer, brother gets injured, Van Damme avenges brother.
It is the most bare bones plot of a martial arts movie that you can have.
Yes, and honestly, I think I would have liked this movie more had it started after the brother had been injured. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's. I guess I'm imagining more of an actual tournament movie as opposed to.
Well,
this isn't really a tournament
movie.
Yeah, a
you
tournament movie would have been
the
cool.
movie you're imagining is called Bloodsport.
The movie I am imagining
That's
is
true.
Bloodsport.
Is
Yeah,
Bloodsport,
exactly.
yeah. And I think a little bit Lionheart when we get there too.
Okay.
This
gotcha.
is if in my memory, it's been a long time since I've watched Lionheart, but that I believe is another like stumbling into an underground fighting circuit.
Sure.
As
and
opposed,
that's great.
As opposed to, I really thought of this as like, this movie is basically like, we want to make a Rocky movie, but make it a little bit more dangerous.
Yes, very much.
It's got to be, I have to train for whatever reason, either I'm beat, or in this case, yes, my brother is beat, specifically by an illegal move, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Tong Po gives 0 fucks.
Tong Po does give 0 fucks. Because yes,
Yeah.
we opened the movie. I hadn't seen this in since I was a kid. So we opened this movie, and when his brother is the kickboxing champion, I was like, oh right, okay. Because this is by the way, his brother is played by Dennis the Terminator Alexio.
Yes,
Considered to be one of, if arguably the greatest heavyweight kickboxing champion in reality.
Yes, and his acting chops reflect that background.
This is one of only 3 things he ever did as an actor. So this is his second. He did a movie before this called Picasso Trigger that is definitely.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but
This time Picasso's got it.
I'll just say, the tagline is "Killing is an art form."
Okay. It's gonna mess your face up.
Just go ahead.
This is a good art joke.
If you take a look at that poster, that's definitely a future episode, though. Picasso Trigger, because it's just a guy with a machine gun, surrounded by babes in bikinis holding weapons, and one long-haired martial arts guy.
Of course,
I have no idea what that. And then he did this, and then he did a single episode of a TV show called Super Force, and his acting career was over. I don't know this, but I find it shocking. I've never seen Super Force, based on what I'm looking at here.
Oh, the eyes are freaking me out.
Oh wow.
Okay, it's just the shadow.
Yeah, we're looking at Picasso Trigger right now.
Picasso
Yeah.
Triggers.
It's a shame that Picasso, the art style for this poster,
isn't
is not
done
Picasso.
as Picasso. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
It's a bit of a letdown, but...
we have yet to get into the Andy Sedaris movies where he was like, "What if action but more softcore porn?"
Oh,
so we haven't done any of his movies. I have had people ask if we're going to do any of his movies: Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Savage Beach, Malibu Express, Hard Hunted, Do or Die.
Can we find one that really, really limits the amount of rapey vibes that are being given out?
That's
the
thing I don't really know about them is if they're rapey or just sexy. I don't know.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Because
I'm fine dipping my toes in, but like I don't want to.
Well, I don't mind
an
it if
hour
it's
and a half of like uncomfortable rapey vibes. You know?
That's I think the rapey vibes is key, right? If it's just exploitative, softcore Cinemax kind of sex scenes, whatever.
Yeah,
and that's from what I gather. But anyway, we'll get back to him, I'm sure.
Sure,
but I will vet that before we.
Okay, thank you.
Only once have we rejected a movie outright for its rapey vibes.
Yes,
and a Cynthia Rothrock movie, which I think we all thought was surprisingly.
I know. Yeah, but it was also by the director of one of my least favorite movies we've ever watched
this
on this
true.
podcast.
This is true.
I do think it's...
No.
Oh.
It was the guy who did Robo Vampire.
Your favorite.
Yes, that's right.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, Robo Vampire's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I do think it's interesting that looking at the poster for this is only really his second lead, and he's already getting the just last name, Van Damme.
Yeah. Well, it's such a cool last name, though.
It is a cool last name.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we start this movie with Eric Sloan. Eric and his brother Kurt Sloan, which is who Jean-Claude Van Damme is.
Exactly like
they're
brothers
They're so similar.
And then what I like is as I said, Van Damme doesn't come back for Kickboxer 2, so they add a previously unknown third brother who becomes the David Sloan now.
David Sloan
is now the main character.
They could have just made him like a cousin or something, or not have them be related.
I don't know why it has to matter at all, but yeah, and that's our...
I do appreciate that this movie explained Jean-Claude Van Damme's accent.
I love that too.
He grew up in Europe with their mom, and Eric grew up in America with their dad.
So
I don't know if it ever explains like when they met, like.
I'm assuming 3 weeks before this movie started.
Yeah,
I mean, based on their chemistry.
I just love that because it's just like It's like that's why. Oh, that's why he did grow up in Belgium, but he is American, and it's like, girl, no, he's not.
One of my favorite things in any Van Damme movie is always they're trying to explain. The best is, listen, I know we both love Hard Target, where they just go, he's Cajun. And you're like,
that's what that accent is.
I don't know about, they're like, yeah, so that's why it's kind of French, you know? You're like, boy, oh boy.
Like, that's
and then the opposite was the Schwarzenegger movies where they never even tried. They just didn't care.
They don't.
He's just
a regular town sheriff.
Yeah,
you know.
He's just a regular Joe.
The town sheriff one is the best. It's just like, how is he like the sheriff of a small Texas town? And he's going, yeah, that's right. So yeah, Van Damme is his brother's corner man.
Mm-hmm.
We start with him winning a kickboxing championship, and he's just so good. He's beating everybody in America, and they're like, man, if you really want to prove yourself, you got to go to Thailand.
And they're like, great, let's go right now.
I laughed so hard that this movie just hard cut to them already in Thailand.
So they literally left that fight and went straight to the airport and got on an airplane and went to Thailand.
Your first ticket to Bangkok, please. And this begins the first of. I want you guys to. Like how much
montage?
I was gonna say, what percentage of this movie is montage? Because
a lot.
I have a note about montages.
Well,
let's see.
The first one was maybe the weirdest one because this montage
it went places.
Literally.
Literally.
Yes, as montages often.
Well, this is as much as this movie bothers to really like dig into Thailand as a location at all.
Yes,
because we pretty much
did they film in Thailand?
Oh,
where did they film?
There's a good question. They did.
Oh, okay.
I would assume so.
Yeah,
cool.
They filmed.
Well, that's nice.
They filmed in Thailand and Hong Kong.
Okay, well there you go.
And I do have a budget for this movie, which I'll ask you guys in a second to take your best guesses how much this movie costs.
But yeah, this first montage,
and also the first of. Oh, so many great 80s jams in this thing.
Oh, we did also write down
all done by the
best
same
movie soundtrack by far.
This soundtrack does rule.
The soundtrack was amazing.
I mean, the main theme to this, the end credit song, is a straight up banger. There's no question.
Definitely.
Never Surrender is just incredible.
Yeah. But yeah, this first montage is them walking around Thailand. Bangkok, and
sometimes in a boat too.
Sometimes in a boat, but then also going to brothels, picking up prostitutes. But Jean-Claude isn't allowed to participate, so I guess he's just there to be like, "Oh, you silly goose."
Are we supposed to read that as? And I'm sort of backtracking this now. Are we supposed to read that like, "Oh no, this guy's not taking seriously how intense this fight will be. Look at he's partying and getting with prostitutes."
I don't think so, because Jean-Claude's reaction to him doing this is not one of like worry or disapproval yet. It's not until he starts seeing them actually fight that he gets worried. Here he's just like, "Oh, you,
so Eric.
That's so Eric." Like there's literally,
I guess what I'm pitching is more of grounding in character, where it's like that could have been a whole thing where it's like this guy thinks he's the best. He goes over there, he's way too cocky. Now, what I'm also pitching require an actual actor to be the part of the
yes.
brother.
Again, it's hard to have both. We understand.
Yeah.
But he does not have the chops for that. But yeah, he's picking up a prostitute, and how old is Jean-Claude Van Damme supposed to be? Because the way his brother talks to him, I think he's supposed to be 15 years old.
Yeah, he always calls him kid, and I'm like, this is adult man.
This is a man.
And you are not, like, you are of a similar age to him, so you're not old enough to call him kid.
So Van Damme was 29 years old in reality.
Okay.
Which, yes, it seems
that's
about what he seems like. He seems like a guy around 30. Yeah, and this guy in reality is a year older than Van Damme. But you guys, he had a mustache.
Oh god.
So that makes him
his
so
hair,
much. Yeah.
The hair and mustache was so bad. I think inherently he could be an attractive man, but his hair was so distractingly bad.
You wrote what a hairpiece.
I wrote what a hairpiece. I don't know if it was a hairpiece.
I
But
don't know if it was either.
Well, I'm looking at it here again. I mean, he's almost rocking somewhere between a jerry curl and a mullet.
yes,
It's some
and
kind of
he's-
god awful middle ground between those two already awful hairstyles.
Yeah, so imagine that hairstyle, but with Freddie Mercury's mustache, and you're kind of getting a good image of.
Yeah,
what this guy
it
looks
is
like.
sort of like I'm just trying to focus on his facial features. Yeah, I'm sure he's a fine looking guy, but
Yeah.
everything about his hair is incredibly distracting.
What? So what do we know about Eric here? We know he's cocky.
Yeah.
We know that he loves to harass women. There's literally
Loves
in
it.
the middle
Loves
of another
it.
scene, it cuts to a hospital, and he slaps the nurse's ass, and
once
she gets
again-
really offended.
And the doctor laughs. And
And
I'm
the
like,
Because
the
I
doctor
think-
laughs, and then it cuts back to the other scene, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
And once again, I think you're just supposed to be like, oh, that Eric, what?
that's
a
so
scam."
Eric.
Yeah.
What a
We know.
scam.
Here's what we know about Eric.
Okay.
He's overconfident.
Yes.
He's hates women.
Mhm.
He had not the greatest relationship with his dad.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that established?
Yes,
Okay,
that was
okay.
established.
Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
because that's supposed to also explain the difference in their temperament, right? Not only did
Yeah,
did it
his
get
dad
Van
used to
Damme,
was really hard on him and would I don't know if he would kick the shit out of him, but always pushed him super hard and was
Yeah.
definitely a man's man,
It's the-
aka the worst dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Okay.
so I guess that's. I mean, I'll give the movie credit for that. Just once again, based on low action shelf barometer of that is an attempt at an explanation for the behavior of a
Yes.
character,
As
That's-
opposed to just saying, "Oh, this is what men are like." Yeah, this is a guy.
And also, I mean that he is at least somewhat meant to be a cautionary tale because Van Damme
Yes.
is our hero, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
it's the movie is not the movie is too okay with his behavior, but it's not 100% on board with his behavior. This
Because
is
otherwise, Van Damme would be behaving that way. You know, and
that's
he's
what I'm
the
saying.
hero. Right. Yeah.
This is not a Seagal movie, I guess. Where Seagal would be
Right.
doing all of this plus worse.
Yeah. Plus, worse off camera. Yeah.
Yes, on set. But so yeah, they go to Thailand. He's gonna fight this guy. Well, first we gotta establish that Van Damme is nowhere near the kickboxer he is because they're training together. And he's like, you got no power in those kicks.
Yeah.
Come on,
you
Kurt.
can't do those tippy tappies, or
Yeah.
something like that.
It
Yeah.
is something like that. You can't. Yeah, come on, man. And so establishes. Van Damme just doesn't have the killer instinct, man.
Right.
I
do like that at the beginning of this movie they try to hide how jacked Van Damme
Yes.
is. You know what I mean? Because he's very, very muscular. He is incredibly muscular. And if he's standing next to this other guy who is in good shape, but it's just
That dude was also brolic as fuck. though.
Yes,
well, once
but-
again, he was also an incredible kickboxer
Right,
in real life.
exactly.
72-2 record with 65 wins by way of knockout.
Jesus Christ.
Christ.
Yeah, that guy was
The man is a
unstoppable.
machine.
I mean,
I
like
mean,
I said,
he
his,
was-
his
yeah.
boxing nickname was the Terminator. So
Yeah.
he was also a
yeah.
good friend and training partner of Van Damme's. So this is basically Van Damme just getting all his buddies in a movie.
Sure.
I
yeah.
love that for him.
Yeah,
that's
great.
I mean, he does blood sport, and he's like, "Come on, everybody! Now I get to put all my kickboxing friends in here."
Mm-hmm.
Come on, everyone.
And so
let's
that's why
make a movie.
when this movie does kickboxing, it's fucking great. These
Yeah.
kickboxing scenes are awesome.
I will say there are things about, and maybe this is just Western martial arts films at the time, or maybe I'm speaking out of my ass here, but I do wish there were longer takes. I love long takes in a martial arts.
This movie
I
does
love-
do a thing that is very nostalgic for me, and it's a very canon or very
Mm-hmm.
80s thing, where you would see the same kick 3 times from different angles.
Yes.
That you
Yeah,
just
it
don't
does do
see
that.
anymore. That is a very
Yes.
American martial arts of the 80s
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, and I will say, the martial arts you see are impressive,
Yeah.
and are that is clear,
I mean,
and that is not.
Few
absent
people
here.
have ever looked as good on-screen kicking as Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Right, exactly.
When that, I mean, he's got that foot up over his head.
Yeah.
It is.
Doing the full splits, baby.
Yeah, I love during the montage where he's like getting his kick higher and higher and higher, you know, and then he eventually kicks somebody in the face with it. And it's great.
It's great, and there's also a lot of this is another thing I think of in canon films, particularly. There's a lot of the close up of just the foot hitting the face and the.
It was always anytime there was like somebody punching at the camera and then the reverse angle of somebody like dodging, like hands coming was always funny.
That's very indicative of this specific era of martial arts film. Because we're still also in an era at this point when it is still like American-made martial arts movies are somewhat new. And so it is like, whoa, I don't go to this kind of thing normally.
Yeah, because this is like, I'm not sure when there was like a lot of kung fu movies and like martial arts films coming over, was that like late 60s, early 70s?
Yeah, and that was all kind of coming from the Chinese, and then more like late 70s, early 80s, where you get guys like Norris, and they're still bringing the Chinese style to America. And then it's guys like Van Damme, Dudikoff, and stuff like that who are bringing in more of the kickboxing and the Muay Thai and things like that. And Don the Dragon Wilson, who we are going to finally let back on the show soon.
We're going. Yeah, he's been in timeout. Not his fault. He didn't make that movie. He was
but you know what? You watch a movie as bad as Future Kick, you're looking to blame anyone involved.
It's true.
I blame you two.
It's been years.
It's literally been years now. So we're finally going to come back with a fighting tournament movie with him. So we go to the fight, and he's fighting. This is, as we said, this is Tong Po, Mike Kesey, who doesn't really even have to be a good actor in this movie. Like, nothing about this part
does technically have lines.
I was actually kind of shocked when he spoke. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, now this is a guy who we'll technically see him next week, but that's because he is the fight trainer and stunt double for Van Damme and Cyborg.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So he's not.
They look so much alike.
He's not actually in the movie. He will be back in Lionheart. Okay. Yeah, he's another guy who was a professional fighter and friend of Van Damme's, as we've talked about. And you want to talk about hair? This guy went for the very bold choice of just a ponytail.
Yeah, there's nothing else but a very long ponytail.
It's bold, and I'll tell you, immediately you're like, that dude's evil.
Do you...
I know he's the bad guy.
He's got a long ponytail, nothing else. He has a headband when you first meet him.
And he's beating up a pillar in the gym, and that's when Van Damme's like, this guy might be too intense.
Yeah. And that's a fair read, honestly.
That guy was giving full intensity to beating the shit out of a cement pillar.
It kind of reminds me of that Key and Peele skit of the two fighters like doing the promos before the fight, and then one of them is like clearly psychotic.
Right.
That's kind of the vibes I'm getting.
Where you go like, here. Oh, this guy might not. This guy might not be a functional member of society.
No. Yeah, and turns out, the society, John, is not functional.
Well,
he functions well in the dysfunction.
Well, because I do. That's the thing where I'm like, we gotta canon up. We can't just be a fighting movie. It's like, no. He's specifically fighting for the local mob.
And the only way you can stop him is in the ring. There's no other way.
I love this. I love it so much. These are the kinds of movies I love, and I still do. There's a great thing in Creed 3 that was just out, where when it comes down to it, it's just like, there's only one way to stop him. And of course, it's like, I have to beat him in a boxing match.
Yeah,
he won't
because
stop.
We saw Rocky 5.
Yeah,
okay? We know what happens if it's not in the ring, and it's bad.
Until I beat him for real in the ring, this villain will not stop doing his villainy.
Yeah,
and that is very much the case here. So yeah, he never has a chance in this fight, right? The brother, he pretty much gets his ass handed to him
immediately.
From moment one.
And that's the other thing about the fights in this movie. It's either one person is dominating or the other person is dominating.
Yeah.
There's never like a trade, you know.
No,
like,
because it's
back
like
and forth.
the final. You know, when if you jump to the final fight, it's like Van Damme is losing horribly until he's not, and then the other guy never, Tong Po never gets a shot in, and Van Damme just destroys him.
He decides to win, you know.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about it, but like when he kicks off the shackles of the weapons he's been given.
How taking off the ropes made him better at fighting. I wasn't really sure.
Now he can actually make a fist. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know.
Well, if you notice, he
by all
doesn't.
counts, it made no sense.
If you look, he doesn't really use his fists much in that fight. I think maybe that's the idea. Is like now I basically just take my fists away, and that's sort of them visually showing it. I don't know.
Okay.
I also think it's meant to sort of be like Dark Knight Rises, where it's like the only way to do this is without the rope. Like if I don't have the thing that's meant to be an advantage.
Famously, the best Batman movie. Yeah, that's true.
I know you know me well enough to know, Listman, how want I am to bring that movie up.
But it's an apt comparison.
It is, yeah. And actually, that's a part of the movie I do actually like. I think that's a good Batman moment. In a Batman movie with very few good Batman moments, weirdly.
Yeah. John's Batman moment.
Oh man, nobody wants that on the show because it would take over the whole show.
It'd be the whole show.
Yeah. Okay. So his brother is just getting destroyed, and even this is very Rocky IV. The moment when he's like, he's beaten to shit, and Van Damme's like, we gotta just stop this. He's like, no, I think I can still take him.
No, I think I figured it out. Yeah, I need to punch.
Oh, you got to kick. It's kickboxing,
right, kickboxing.
Michael.
I gotta block these.
Well, that is actually
kicks to my
that's
face.
kind of what the Van Damme thing. Well, that's also the big thing Van Damme learns is defense, right? Americans don't know defense.
Yes. Although I will say his defense is not blocking attacks. It's strengthening his torso so that it's so strong that nothing can stop it.
That is what I love about it is he's still just taking hits, but he's just taking them better.
Yeah, exactly. He's had enough coconuts dropped.
Yeah, that does feel very American though. It's just like I'm gonna get tougher.
I'm just gonna flex my abs.
It's the opposite of the Rocky 3 thing, where the whole thing is you got to get faster, Rocky. You'll never be as strong as Mr. T. The only way to beat him is to be faster. Right. But here it's like, no, it's just to learn how to take the damage. Good Lord. I mean, to be fair, that was the entire basically fighting strategy of probably the greatest boxer who ever lived, Muhammad Ali, was just he could just take punches until the other guy tired out. Now, he also died of Parkinson's as an old man because it destroyed his brain. So,
well, I mean, boxing is not conducive to a healthy lifestyle.
You know who else was really good at taking a beating? The Murdoch boys. You know, Matt Murdock and his dad.
This is true. This is true. I mean, that is basically, forget the radar senses. Yeah, Matt Murdock's superpower is just being able to take a pummeling.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that is true.
That man will have a building fall on him and be like, whatever, I'm going to go fight some crime. Whoops, bad idea. And that's season 3 of Daredevil. Season 3 of Daredevil,
yeah. So finally, this guy, Tong Po hits him with... what would you describe? It's like a punch, a specific punch to the vertebrae.
Well, he chops him, right? He does a drop and chop.
It's like right on that spine, baby.
Yeah,
it's like a pro wrestling move.
It's a move really designed only to paralyze, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's called the Paralyzer.
Yeah, because he and the second you see it, and that's what I couldn't remember. I'm like, does he die? I thought,
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And also, maybe he should have died.
Because he doesn't really have much.
No,
there's one thing that later in the movie that is almost justifying him living through the film, which is him trying to convince his younger brother to not do the fight.
Well, and then of course the entire thing about they kidnap him and they're going to kill him if he doesn't lose the fight because we need another action set piece in there.
John, do it. And what an action set
well,
piece
you know, either Golan or Globus or both of them went, yeah, the kickboxing great, but where are the guns?
Where are the guns? Yeah, exactly. Where's the guy who gets put on a meat hook?
Oh, I did enjoy that, though. I mean, that in isolation, love it.
Yes, absolutely.
Did that guy die? Can we count that as kill of the movie?
Yes.
I count that as kills.
That is
That guy
killed him.
definitely died.
He threw a knife at a dog, and I thought the dog died. So fuck that guy.
You know what I love?
They didn't kill the dog.
That's what I love. They just injure the
Did not
dog.
kill the-
And we as audiences love dogs so much. You don't have to kill the dog. Hurting a dog in any way is like, you fucking die for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the guy who dies on a hook.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that the movie went hard on this man.
Yeah.
I told Michael, I was like, this movie almost became the worst movie I've ever seen for this show. But they redeemed themselves by not killing the dog.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Tong Po, to add insult to injury, tears up the world championship belt.
Now he does do that while still wearing boxing gloves, which I thought was a little unlikely.
That he could get the grip on it to be able to
Yeah.
like tear.
Like I will buy that he can tear this thick leather.
But yeah, all of a
belt
sudden
apart.
it's thick leather, right until he tears it. You're like, that looks like thin cardboard to me.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. This is a canon film after all.
It is a canon
But they couldn't afford real leather.
No.
But everybody's like, oh my god, this guy is a maniac.
That's what makes him a maniac.
Yeah, the paralyzing kind of little reaction from the crowd, but when he tears that belt up, it's like, you son of a bitch, what an insult to the sport. Except for, boy, the mob boss character is so ill-defined.
Freddie Lee? What are you talking about? This is the most interesting villain I've like. This case study in villainy is so interesting. It reminds me of an essay I read about the monotony of evil. So it really is such an interesting dissection.
He is a character. I love bad guys like this in movies where all of his threat is just people saying how scary. They're like, oh my god, you're talking about Freddie Lee? Holy shit. Guys, don't you know? Yeah, Tong Po could kill you with a single punch, but he works for Freddie Lee.
Yeah, and this is another person who I am surprised had any dialogue in this film because the first half of the movie, neither of the villains spoke.
No.
So, like, yeah.
No, he's just because we keep cutting to him during this fight, just going, yes.
Now,
Yeah,
now-
a lot of nodding of approval.
But here's the thing:
enjoy this.
Freddie
And
Lee
making
is not the highest. Is not the highest on the totem pole.
That's
There's
true.
somebody else even higher up and even less defined than him.
There's another guy who you don't even really know about until he later goes to get permission to put $1 million on
Right.
Tong Po.
Yes, and that guy is referred to as the Warlord. Is that? Did I mishear that?
The Warlord. Is it the Warlord or the Overlord?
Warlord makes sense.
Maybe it's Warlord. What is
I
he
don't
cred-
know.
I'm just looking to see if there's even a.
It was just. I
Is
mean, it
there a
was a
credit
doughy
for this
looking
guy?
man.
Yeah. I think he might just be the guy in the referred to as Big Tie Man.
That is a credit in
Yeah.
here. Big Tie Man.
Big time, man.
Big Tie Man, or is that Tao Lu?
Ooh, maybe Tao Lu.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, once you leave the like central 5 characters, I have no idea who anyone is, and almost no one has any names.
No,
It's all like nurse, doctor. Oh, Tao Lu's wife. I think Tao Lu is the mob boss.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, although I don't remember them really. Yeah, but
I don't
anyway.
remember them saying his name. I just remember them like
But
referring
he
to
did. He
him
did have a
as the-
woman there with him, right? Isn't that so?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
yes,
woman credited
definitely.
as Tao Lu's wife, so I think that's him.
Yes.
The
yeah.
lady giving him a massage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also very canon.
Yes.
But I do like that it's just like nobody even they carry his brother out on a stretcher and basically just dump him in the streets.
Yes. That is yes. Absolutely.
Fucking this guy. And this is
Yeah.
where we meet maybe the most random character in the movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this guy's motivation is.
Winston?
Winston, yeah. He does go watch Bloodsport. Not the movie, but like actual Bloodsport.
Yeah.
But he's relatable. He's a very relatable guy.
Well, but he's also an international arms dealer, right?
He is also an international arms dealer,
Yeah.
but he's not Asian, so therefore he can be a main character. No, I'm just kidding.
Haskell.
one or two.
By the way, the guy who plays him is named Haskell V. Anderson III.
What a
Yeah.
dope name.
Did
That
you
is a
see
dope-
his? I was reading his bio last night, and this is when your bio reads this way, you know that's a problem.
Professional teenage male model.
He was a professional teenage male model. That is correct. Some of the information, he was in a matter of months, he was one of the highest paid mixed race teenage models in the city. And that is on his IMDb bio. That is like the highlight of his bio. So he doesn't do a lot of work after this, is my point.
No, it's a lot of TV appearances as unnamed characters.
Yes.
Priest, doctor, postal chief,
Right.
interior secretary. It's like he was on the West Wing as unnamed interior secretary.
Right.
Courtroom number 7 clerk in the John Travolta movie.
Compared to
Civil
all
Action.
of the kickboxers in this movie,
He's
I
very
will
good.
say, yeah.
And compared to,
Yes, yeah.
I don't think Miley is very good in this either.
No.
But she is also somebody whose work is primarily in stunts.
Yeah. Oh,
As I see,
she
here.
should have done more stunts in this movie.
I know that's
then.
what I find
She
strange.
can't do stunts, Michael. She's a woman.
But they literally say it in the movie. She also trained with her uncle, who is
You're right.
eventually the person who trained. So, like, she's going to help train Jean-Claude. They say that. But really what they mean is she's going to help train him with that.
You want to finish that sentence?
Puss.
Okay. And there it is, folks.
No, that's it.
There it is.
That's the end of this show.
I've been canceled.
She did stunt work for the movie Blade, which I fucking love and has some amazing fight
cool.
scenes in it. So
I'm sad she didn't get to do any fighting.
I'm sad she didn't get to do anything. Period.
Yeah,
in this
well,
movie.
that's
This-
true.
This character
Like,
is
literally anything.
Is basically here to romance Van Damme and then for him to avenge her rape. Because it's a canon movie. It's a canon film.
It's so tacked on. It's so doesn't.
It didn't need to
It
happen.
doesn't matter.
He's avenging his brother being paralyzed.
Well,
we get it,
I also
guys.
like-
Come on.
They have her get beaten up by the guy, and then it's like beat, and also I was raped.
Yeah, it's
Like it's just like I'm not saying like it wouldn't be good if he just beat her up too, but it's like canon's like not far enough.
yeah. Because again, there's no plot, so
And also-
there's this middle of the movie where they're just like we don't have any plot, so I guess we'll just keep making this villain even more villainous.
and
Like,
doing weird cuts between things.
Yeah.
It is like the movie doesn't have much of a structure in that sense. It just kind of like because pretty much from here on out, because Van Damme swears he finds out his brother is paralyzed because the doctor is like, I'm sorry, he's paralyzed.
Right.
This is the end of my involvement in this movie. And what he's like,
Can I get my check now?
Yeah, he will be in the hospital for probably 3 months. And Van Damme's like, no, and he swears vengeance right there. But then they're like, no, you can't do it because you're not as good a fighter. You just don't have it in you. You'll lose.
Yeah, nobody can beat Tung Po.
But for some reason, this new best friend of his, who's also an international weapons dealer, is like, well, I know one guy who lives out in the middle of the nowhere who might be able to train you.
Yeah.
And this is Jean.
Yeah, who might be the best part of this movie.
My favorite
Other
character.
than
Chan.
the dog Kiki.
That's true. Kiki is actually my favorite character, but Shen is a close
Chen,
second.
yeah.
Yes.
I think he is one of the only actors who's in every Kickboxer movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He continues to be sort of the mentor figure across this franchise, I
That
guess.
makes sense.
Yeah, he's great.
So he's sworn off training people because
Yes.
there used to be so many.
Too many people.
There's just too many. And he initially says he's not going to train Van Damme because Van Damme is being motivated by vengeance.
Right.
Right.
Class. Once again, just absolutely nothing new to the structure of a martial arts movie here.
But
And
if
that's
you
fine.
Think about the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Does Van Damme learn to not seek vengeance?
No.
Yeah, not really.
In fact,
beyond it,
actively counters that.
But, like-
in fact, it takes the opposite approach, and
Yeah.
it's all about vengeance at the end. So why have that in the movie?
that's what I
to
think. Well, because
begin
the
with?
other thing is also like, why introduce it all? Because you're going like, well, if he doesn't seek vengeance, for him to choose not to seek vengeance means he wouldn't fight Tong Po, and that's what we
Yes.
want.
Yes.
So it is kind of like, why? Yeah, you're right. Why even introduce this concept?
Unless there's like a third, like, sort of option. I don't know what the other option would be.
Take him on a date.
Yeah.
Romance Tong
Yeah.
Po.
Mm-hmm.
Make him fall in love with you and then break his heart.
There we go. This is the movie we want to see.
See,
Yeah,
that's what Kickboxer 2 should have been.
Yeah.
Nope. Instead, we get just a different brother.
Okay.
And he's gonna romance.
But he also appears to be fighting Tong Po in this.
Really?
Yeah, Tong
Wait,
Po comes back as the bad guy in
hold
Kickboxer
on.
too.
He
Does
didn't
he-
die.
he didn't die?
No, he didn't
he's
die.
knocked out.
He just got
Okay.
beat up against
Jean-Claude Van Damme isn't going to kill Tong Po. He just needed to defeat him in
Okay.
battle.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's
Even
right.
though they do
Because
fight
he's the good guy. He would never kill his opponent.
Well, I
I
would
mean,
say
He's honorable.
But I was kind of disappointed that when they talk about you, because there's the whole thing, but when it's like, oh, we're going to fight the ancient way, I thought, oh, you mean to the death? No, we're just going to fight each other with gloves covered in glass.
So death is more likely, but not guaranteed.
Yeah, it just seemed like when the raising
we
of the
just
stakes...
want to watch someone bleed out
So
real
what-
bad.
Wait, so then that could be the thing. It could be fight to the death, but Van Damme doesn't want to do it. Like
Right.
in the moment when he could, he
Because
doesn't.
he doesn't have that killer instinct.
Yes, because he's exactly.
And that is that you have just described the ending of Karate Kid Part 2.
There we go. Okay, we did it.
Where the bad
I've
guy
never
wants
seen those.
wants to make Ralph Macchio kill him, and even though he's got the killing blow, he doesn't do it because he's the hero of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to kill me, and he's like, no,
Nope.
because I use karate for good. The Karate Kid, those are fun.
I build bridges with my karate, okay? I shelter
And now-
homeless people.
If you watch Cobra Kai, that bad guy from Karate Kid Part 2 is back, and he and Daniel-san have teamed up. So
Oh,
yeah, because he
Wow.
didn't kill him all those years ago.
there you go.
Yeah, there's the surprisingly deep continuity of the Karate Kid franchise. There are, hang on, I just want to see, there are, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Kickboxer movies in total,
Damn.
including
Yeesh.
one that they're making one right now called Kickboxer Armageddon that will be the 7th.
Kickmageddon. Yeah.
Kickmageddon.
Kickmageddon. Ooh, it has Christopher Lambert and Mike Tyson in it.
Okay, so we're watching this.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we might skip Kickboxers 2 through whatever with the other guy and then come back for the reboot franchise.
Yeah,
Which
we
is-
gotta wait till the third brother dies so that Jean-Claude can come back.
Now, how are they going to explain Mike Tyson being related to everyone?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yet
He's
another.
clearly a brother. I
Well,
think he's a brother.
look, man, in a world where Vin Diesel is brothers with John Cena in the Fast and Furious franchise, I think anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
You can have major height difference in a family.
Sure.
Well, I think it's more the race thing, but yeah.
Oh,
Well, as we talked about, it's not
There's-
even.
there's a
The
major
trick.
height difference.
There is a major height difference.
Although I think Vin does some stuff to correct that on screen. Having just watched the most recent one, actually.
Platforms?
Yeah.
Good lord.
But-
Just like he's constantly on like a
he's
a
just-
platform that's carried around.
That's
like
right.
a palanquin.
Yeah. Vin Diesel, I've never heard him say anything, but I'm sure is sensitive about his height. Probably a big problem with him and The Rock. That guy's just too
Because
tall.
The Rock is massive.
Yeah, and Vin is wide.
Yes.
So yeah, he goes out there. The guy says, "No," of course, because it's a canon movie. On their way out to meet this trainer, they have to stop at a strip club. Though they just
They
have
do.
to.
Yeah, they have to. I literally wrote down obligatory strip club scene.
I
Yeah.
think we have that on our bingo card, don't we?
We
oh,
do.
definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there you go. This movie. Cannon, you've done it again.
You've done it again. Now, which strip club is this? Because we saw a lot of strip club names. We saw
My favorite,
Jugs Bar.
Jugs Bar, 3rd floor.
Jugs Bar.
I would go there.
You know what I like
Jugs
about
Bar.
You know what I like about Jugs Bar? Don't bury the lead. Just
Don't bury the lead.
Just tell
Tell
me
me what's going to be there. Are there going to be jugs?
Is there a bar and
Is there
are
a
there
bar?
jugs? Then we're good.
Now, do you like that more, or do you like this next one, Pussy Alive?
Well, it's better than Pussy Dead. I'll say
I
that.
mean, yeah.
And thank God the pussy's alive here at least. My God. Yeah, and then it's just and this scene once again though, Van Damme not really participating in these shenanigans.
No.
He's more like, hey, that's your
he's a
thing,
virgin.
man. You know what?
Not until later
He
does
might be a virgin.
You don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
they
He's
play.
supposed to
implied.
be 15.
They do play him very innocent and at least virginal, if not actually.
very Luke Skywalker. I was getting a lot of Luke Skywalker.
Yes, and I
vibes
think
here.
I can't wait to get to Double Impact when you have the two Van Dammes who are twins, and one is like a ladies' man, and the other one's like, oh, I don't know, do girls even notice me?
They do.
Well, that's the joke. In the movie,
Badass.
is all the women are like, check him out, and he's like, oh no, no one would ever look at me.
And his brother's like, yeah, they're looking at me.
That's right, and we're different because I have slick down hair.
completely different.
Oh, I do know what movie this is.
Yeah, it's Double Impact, which is how we're gonna end this month. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so you also get, I love the way this movie will just stop every once in a while. This is classic like action shelf stuff where it's just like, hold on, the movie has to stop and explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because why is Winston, this weapons dealer, helping him? Well, years ago, I failed to protect my brother.
I must have missed that.
Yeah, I completely missed
He has a
that.
whole
That
thing.
must have been when I was scrolling on my phone.
He has a whole thing because Van Damme is like, I don't understand. Why do you care what I'm doing? And he just goes, back in Nam, my brother and I were in the battle together, and I couldn't save him. So I understand what it is to lose a brother.
Okay, should that be a bingo card?
Oh.
Obligatory Nam reference?
Well,
Dang, 1969.
if we're talking 80s action, absolutely.
Absolutely,
No
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
There is no 80s action movie that doesn't have somebody go back in Nam. But
Yeah.
at least, you know what, we might just to include maybe just obligatory war trauma.
Yes.
Because we have seen that, like the Michael Jai White movie we watched that just had him be traumatized by the war. Well,
Yes.
the courier, Olga Kurylenko, lost her brother on a mission in the war.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a whole thing there about, but once again, it's just like, and then basically they just like stop the car on their drive out to find this guy, and he's like, "Here's why I'm doing this. Let's keep going."
Okay, now we can keep driving. We can keep driving the plot forward.
Yeah,
If that's what you
whatever
want to call
plot is in here. So,
Yeah.
they go out there. The scene where Chan just defies gravity.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, that was great. We love to see that.
Because this is where he goes like, show me how you defend, and he spins up in the air, does like 3 kicks in midair, and then
And then
lands.
drops.
Yeah, and he's like, you don't know how to defend yourself. This is horse shit.
Yeah.
This is exact line too. No,
Yeah, I believe so. No, he's just like, oh, American training must be very different over there because your defense is not great.
right. But then Van Damme is not deterred, and instead, because he's got I guess you could call this the save the cat moment of this movie, when he's playing with the village children, and oh no, Freddie Lee's goons are coming to shake down the village businesses,
Including Master Jean's
niece. Yeah.
uh,
Although I don't think we find that out
adopted
until
niece?
later. Yeah, I don't. There's
Well,
a
we
lot-
find out that she's
She's an orphan.
well, we don't find out she's an orphan until later, but we find out that
I
she
think she is his niece, but he raised her, right?
Yes,
he
exactly.
he adopted his niece and raised. She is his niece, though. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I think.
But we don't find out any of this connection. Right now, she's just a pretty girl who owns a shop of
A
some
grocery
sort. Yeah.
equivalent.
I love the idea that this is like this very deep in the woods village, and it's being shaken down by the city mob. It's a long way to go to shake down some. Also, what kind of money are you getting out of this tiny, secluded little town? Feels like a
no
waste
building in this town has 4 walls. Like there's always like an open air sort of vibe.
That's kind of why I was surprised when he's
architecture.
like, "You better pay your protection money." Like,
Yeah.
what?
Okay, here's 3 copper coins and a potato. Like what do you expect?
Yeah, we want our cut of the produce you guys are selling.
Yeah, I would just be like, we all use the barter system here. I don't have
Exactly.
money.
I honestly was surprised when I found out there was a whole village attached to this secret like monastery for Muay Thai.
The geography of this is so goofy because it's either a single shack, a massive temple, or a whole village, depending on the scene.
Oh yes, there is an ancient stone temple within walking distance.
It's definitely not a green screen background.
There's definitely no
that's
fake background.
That's very much what it is. Where you're like, wait a minute, I don't get any sense of where this is connected to where his trainer lives versus where the village. I'm not sure how anything leads to anything else in the geography of this.
Nope.
It is just sort of like,
Not important.
And it's also what's not important is that if you're in that stone temple long enough, you start to hear
oh my god,
clangs.
Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so confused by that.
This is pure 80s canon movie nonsense. And also the Falcon.
Yes, and
the
that was
bird!
the other thing. That was the
it just kept showing every time it showed up. Michael would write a note saying, "It's that bird again," and it's like, "Yes, Michael, it's the bird."
And
again.
then what's with that bird and
And
the bird?
It's the bird again. Yeah.
yeah. So
that's exactly
is
right.
So wait, what is the bird? Like it keeps coming up as
it's like his
motif.
spirit animal, right? I mean, like, isn't that what it's kind of supposed to be?
Yes, but that's not a. Is that a Thai? Like,
oh, I don't think they are doing anything.
Because that feels very,
Native
cliche
American.
Native American. Yeah.
Here's what I think it is.
All right.
I think they were filming, and someone was watching in them, and they were like, "Hey, I have a bird that I trained. Can it be in the movie?" And they were like, "That actually sounds pretty fucking cool. Yeah, we're gonna have random shots of this bird if that's cool." And they're like, "Yeah, money, please."
Yeah.
And I think that someone was just like, "Yo, I got a bird."
Okay, I understand that is.
I think that's how a lot of canon films are made.
Yeah,
I think.
in a practical way. But
I'm
I'm trying to
was
think
there
of
of its own. Was like the bird was like, "Yo, let me get in on this film."
The bird auditioned a lot to be in this.
The bird auditioned for Kurt.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And they were like, "We like your pizzazz and your spunk, kid."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great.
We wrote a role for him. We created a part just for this bird because he was just so talented.
I think that's what happened.
Yes.
That's what you were going to say.
He also had a short-lived TV show after this. It didn't, the writing didn't live up to his skills, though.
Beakboxer.
Beatboxer.
He's a bird with a beak.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was a beatboxer, but
I think that's what he would eventually try to get into. But it's hard to beatbox without lips, you know?
Yeah, that's what everybody told him growing up. But that didn't stop him.
Everyone was like, "You'll never make it. You're not a magpie. You can't mimic sounds as well." And he's like, "I'll show you guys."
You don't believe in me, Mom? Could be a big, bright, shining star.
Anyway, that's definitely a different movie.
Yeah.
No.
What is your Lisbon? What was your theory about the bird?
I was like.
I forgot where we even got off track.
I have no idea. Because he was known as the White Warrior. It would have. I was hoping for like a Dune, Muad'Dib kind of a thing, where there's an animal that represents this character or something.
Dude, that is asking way too much from canon.
It's there, just like
it is there. It is clearly just them going. Falcons are cool.
Yeah,
I think it's a falcon.
Clearly
it's a falcon,
somebody
right?
being.
I think it is.
Maggie, you're correct. It's somebody being like, "Hey, I know this guy who has a bird." And then they're like, sure, let's put it in there.
Yeah.
It never comes into
We
play.
need more wildlife.
No.
Nobody ever talks about the bird. They
No,
they don't like.
Well,
They mostly don't even look at it.
Yeah.
no, it's hilarious because it's physicalized. Like in Rocky 3, there's this whole metaphor if you got to get the eye of the tiger back. But Rocky isn't seeing a tiger in the movie.
No, there's not a real tiger.
It's just a concept.
Not a real
There's
tiger.
just an eye.
It's
Yeah.
just a,
Following
but
him.
there is just a weird floating eyeball that tends to follow him about.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
That's not spoken of enough. Well, Rocky 4 does have a robot in it, so
That's-
lest we forget.
Two robots.
Yeah. No, it just
Because
has.
there's a
What-
Oh, right. Because I was thinking Ivan Drago was punching a robot, but
Oh,
no, that was
yeah,
just
he's just sort of punching like a computer training system. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the robot, Paulie's robot assistant in that movie.
Yes, the robot butler.
Oft mocked and removed in the Sylvester Stallone director's cut that came out recently.
right.
Yeah, he recut Rocky 4. He's like, yeah, I took the robot out. In retrospect,
robots are kind of Arnold Stick, so I
yeah,
don't want to
it's
put
just
it in
say,
here.
come on, guys.
Come on, we don't-
So,
we don't fuck.
So it is in seeing Van Damme defend his niece and beating these guys up
Yes.
that Sean is like, okay, maybe he does have something. Maybe there is the heart of a hero as the title track or the main theme of this movie, Never Surrender, tells us.
Yes. God, the music.
The music is
It's exactly what you think it's gonna be, and I love that.
It is as good an 80s soundtrack as you're ever gonna get. It is just, and like we talked about, most of the songs carry the movie more than the dialogue does.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which is very, very much this time when, I mean, that Rocky 4 is very much the same way because MTV is huge and they're just like, this is what people want.
Yeah, you don't see that kind of shit in post 9/11 action movies. It's not really
Not so much. I mean, it's a big thing. I really do miss the idea of movies having like a main theme song, like and like making a big deal about every once in a while a movie will come out. Like Top Gun did have a Lady Gaga song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there is like a theme song to the movie, and it's weaved into the score of the film as well.
I mean, that's at least a nod to the original film.
Yes,
you know?
which the Top Gun soundtrack was even more successful than Top Gun the movie.
Yeah,
that
right,
soundtrack
exactly.
was gigantic.
Yeah.
Does that one have Danger Zone?
Yes.
It has Highway to the Danger Zone. It also has Take My Breath Away, which is the love theme.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Berlin's Take My Breath Away. My personal unsung song from that movie is the other Kenny Loggins song. It's not Highway to the Danger Zone, which is called Playing with the Boys, which is played during the beach volleyball scene.
Yeah,
Shirtless men in just denim shorts playing beach volleyball. And there was nothing gay about it, man.
Nothing.
What are you talking
very
about?
straight.
I do always like that on the commentary for that, Tony Scott was like, oh, I knew what audience this was for. Because, the producers in the studio were like, no, it's just about cool guys. He goes, no. That was, he goes, it's a movie for everybody. That scene was there for a reason. He goes, I'm not an idiot. I know why that was there. I did that for a very specific reason.
I know what fan service is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And that movie was very popular with the homosexual crowd, and that's great. Yeah. And so even in Top Gun Maverick, then you got to have shirtless beach football.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if they were going to do a beach sport.
They did.
For that.
Yeah, they did beach football.
Keep the tradition alive.
Oh, you had to. When I saw it, I went, oh, you had to do it. Yeah. So he does agree to. Oh, and also the niece is really mad though, because this is going to get her in trouble with the very dangerous Freddie Lee. She didn't want him to get involved.
Yeah,
exactly. She could have kicked their ass, but she can't. She can't risk her store.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And the uncle's I love that her uncle's like, yeah, but he's white, so it's fine. And I'm like, I don't know if that's how that works, all right.
This is kind of what white guys do. It's just
we know white people.
They just show up and they just start
punching
enacting
I would have loved this movie so much if he just gone, white people, am I right?
That actually would have been hilarious.
That would have been great. I would have loved this movie so much more if that happened in it.
And I love that the uncle's just like, I mean, I've always wanted to do that. And I'm like, this uncle literally saw Jean-Claude Van Damme show up and at first was like, nah, fuck this. And then went, actually, I hate Freddie Lee. I'm about to ruin this whole man's career.
This could
and
be...
then just completely constructs a way to, you know dethrone and also kind of
Jean is a little scamp kind of in this movie.
He is, yeah.
We'll talk about
he sneaks away later.
There's some real scampy stuff he does in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's my favorite. He thought this through.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
He's
this
a
was not by
criminal
accident.
mastermind.
Man is smart.
So we get a training montage. At a certain point, I'm just writing a training montage, but I sort of chose specific moments.
Sure.
When he puts meat in his shorts and has the dog chase him.
That was pretty good.
That was.
How's this going to make me run faster? Cut to dog chasing him.
Bark, bark, bark.
And that dog.
So
the dog is very good. The dog is very good. Also because it's Van Damme, we got to find a way to get. I like this very creative way to get the splits in here, where he's on the thing that's pulling his legs apart.
Oh, you mean how this movie invented the Bowflex? Is that what we're talking about? I mean, it's really like a torture device.
It really is.
And it looks like a torture device.
Yeah.
And he's screaming, and it's all...
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this doing? I guess it allows him to do the splits as well, because you got to get them splits in there.
Well, I mean, Van Damme does use the splits later in a fight scene. Which is great.
You talk about the double split kick.
Yes,
because that is the highlight of the movie, in my opinion. that is. We don't have like that's not a kill, but that would be like the definitely the fight move of the movie.
Yeah,
that's what you paid your money for when you go to see a Van Damme movie. Do stuff like that. Yeah. You do get your money's worth on kicking by the end of this movie.
That is true. Yes, there's plenty of punching and kicking.
You also have him doing fight stances underwater while Jean plays a flute.
Yes.
Classic.
Pretty great stuff.
Yeah.
And of course it's all too much, but then the memory of what happened to his brother makes him go to the next level.
Well, again, he's struggling until Jean brings up the brother, and then
then he knocks over a palm tree.
Then he kicks over a palm tree, and it's like, okay, well, he's using the energy of vengeance to fuel him.
When you told him not to do that, but
Yeah.
you're feeding him that now.
Yeah.
It's
Again, because he did a complete 180. He went, again, this man, I'm going to use this man to my advantage.
So if you think about
now
Sean as
he's
actually
getting
a
revenge.
master manipulator,
Yeah.
this actually makes a lot more sense. I like this.
Well, because it's his revenge against Freddie Lee, right? This whole thing.
Exactly.
ends up being-
Yes.
He went,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? Fuck what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what? I was totally wrong. Vengeance is the answer.
Your vengeance isn't the answer, but mine.
Mine is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mine is legitimate.
When
Yours
you were
is dumb.
when you were seeking vengeance, that was stupid. But when I'm seeking vengeance, it's awesome and totally
It's
justified.
justified and right.
Hell
I'm gonna put
yeah.
this man on a hook.
Also, I just realized where the bird came from. The person who trained the dog also trained the bird.
Oh,
and
that
just
makes
brought
sense.
the bird with
You
them.
know, yeah.
Right. Okay, that does make sense.
Because they wanted to get paid for 2 animals. Genius.
The dog was in the script, and then they're like, "Hey, I also have this
Hey,
bird."
Yeah, I got a bird in the truck too. Do you want to do anything with that?
Yeah, it's in the trunk. just loose in the trunk, you know?
Hey man, I just keep a falcon in the trunk because you never know. You never know. You never know when a movie will need a bird of prey in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the line I legitimately laughed at the most is when he was training on the palm tree, and Jean lifts up the leaf of the palm tree and goes, "Winner, palm tree." legit great joke.
Yeah.
Solid. And I don't necessarily come to these movies for actually well constructed humor, but that got a legitimate laugh out of me before what got a very insincere laugh, because I don't actually understand what I'm meant to think of the bar scene. You guys, this is the most famous thing in this movie.
Okay.
Yes, for a reason.
I feel like I remember watching a clip from Conan when Jean-Claude Van Damme was on.
Yep.
And he's like, let's take a look at this clip. And they show him dancing because he asked Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he's like, still got the moves? And he's like, oh. And then he like does the dance.
He did. You can find
and
this
seeing
clip.
it in the context of watching the rest of the movie, I still don't understand what's going on. But let me tell you, his moves were amazing. 10 out of 10 would watch again.
It is simultaneously amazing and terrible dancing. Is what I love about it. It is what he's a horrible dancer, but the confidence, man. The confidence sells it. He goes at it.
Dancing.
That's dancing. This is
that
the
is.
thing. You do not have to be good at dancing. You just need to be having a good time.
And there was no choreographer involved in this, right? There couldn't have been.
No,
there
they're
couldn't
just
have
like,
been.
just dance. Just you're a martial artist. That's like dancing.
Well, because Jean takes him to this bar, gets him drunk, and then he's like, "You dance, right?" And he's like, "Of course I fucking dance." Like, what are you kidding me? And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna put a tune on. You go to it." And he just if I don't often recommend this, but go to YouTube and look up the clip of this, and then also watch him do it again on Conan, because I do love that Van Damme has a sense of humor enough that he fully commits to doing the same stupid dance, a couple years ago. He goes at it, and then once again, Jean being a little scamp, he's goes over.
He's like going over to guys, and he's just like, "Hey, that guy thinks you're." I don't even remember.
He was telling him that he thinks that they can't fight.
Yeah, or something.
It's like, why were they so mad at me? And he's like, oh, I totally egged them on.
That was all me, baby. He's a little scamp. And
I love him.
He's great. He is great in this. But so Van Damme has to fight these guys. And this does involve
while dancing.
And drunk.
Yeah, he sobers up pretty quick, it seems like, during the fight. It is some definitely...
Well, it's instincts, John.
Yeah, the instincts took over. And he beats the shit out of these guys.
This is definitely the strangest scene in this movie. And definitely this scene is where I was having the most fun, I think. Yeah.
I mean, they said this is the most fondly remembered moment in the movie. Yeah. And rightfully so. It is very fun. The fighting's great. This has the jump double split kick, which is amazing. Yes. It's great stuff. And so then I guess this is the proof that he's ready now.
I guess so, yeah.
Because now they go into the city for his first match against just some guy, right? Who is this guy?
Just a random guy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is the big tie man.
He had to set up a smaller fight to get Freddie Lee's attention.
Right.
Yeah.
This is all.
This is all to get a guy's attention.
Well, why does anybody do anything? Am I right?
Exactly.
This is all to get Freddie Lee's attention on. It's basically just so people go, oh, there's a new fighter in town. Have you heard? He's fantastic. This guy rules.
The White Warrior, they call him.
That's right. Yeah, because he's white.
Yeah.
And so he pretty handily beats this guy up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. They have him fight the. Oh yeah. So he beats him up, and once again, you're getting less of a nod of approval and more intrigued from Freddie Lee, going,
Yeah,
perhaps.
And JCVD calls out to Freddie Lee. He's like, "Bring me Tung Po."
Yeah, once again, pretty great classic martial arts moment.
Yeah.
I want Tung Po.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you want Tung Po?
And
you gonna get him.
Jean gets the whole crowd to chant White Warrior.
Yeah.
And
once again, very Rocky. Very Rocky moment here. In Thai. Yeah. And
two separate places.
Separate places. I'm glad you know that, Listman. That's good.
Yeah, I'm learning.
You're learning to become more culturally sensitive.
You'd think I'd know this because all of our teas for the
company
I work for come from that area of the world. But
I would think that
a lot of them come from Taiwan.
A lot of them come from Taiwan.
There's a lot of stuff in general. I see a lot of made in Taiwan stuff too. It just there's which is maybe probably not a good thing, but anyway, so he's like, all right, this is set up the fight, And this is when the brother wheels his way out to the village and goes like, look what happened to me. Maybe don't do this.
Did you think that the brother was going to get jealous?
I did.
I thought the brother was going to get,
Because there's a shot of him in the hospital reading a newspaper and seeing his brother in there.
That's what
that crumples it up.
Yeah, he's not happy about it.
Yeah.
I would say I was expecting the brother to have any bearing on the plot, and that just, I guess that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, not really.
My mistake, movie.
Yeah.
Because, the brother kind of... Because even here, he's like, you shouldn't do this fight, but also like, doesn't really push too hard for it.
No, well, because JCVD is like, hey,
that's what I fucking
I'm
told you.
better than you ever were. So stay down.
Yeah, know
that
your
line
place.
was savage. She's like, I'm a better fighter than you ever were. I was like, oh,
it wasn't intended to be
kick a man while he's
insult,
down.
I think, but
bro.
Yeah, it is kind of, you want the guy to go like, I'm paralyzed, so
Yeah, would be like, all right,
cool it,
off.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, way to hit a guy when he's down. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, like,
Jesus.
bro.
My God.
I thought you were my bro.
Yeah, I was raised by the bad parent, not you. My God. Jesus.
Yeah, perhaps
Mom was the real monster.
if the movie was a little bit more about the brother dynamic, I don't know.
Well,
like with all of these movies, it can't really settle on anything, so it just keeps adding new elements and then forgetting about them later on in the film.
Well, because it's the brother, it's the niece character. It sort of feels like you gotta
Uncle Jean, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we got and then Winston, you're like.
Yeah.
We gotta lose somebody here. There's too many characters.
Somebody's gotta go
for this 90-minute movie that's mostly about fighting.
So, do you think that the brother should have died then?
I think the brother should have died. I think that it should have just been the memory of his brother.
I think he should have told his brother that.
What?
That he should have died.
You should have died.
You should have died. You should have done the honorable thing and died.
Because it's like, that's the thing. Because if you're gonna keep the brother alive, then do something with him. Because,
exactly.
You know,
instead of just having him continue to be a gross pervert.
Well, because that, like I said, then you have the brother kidnapped at the end. Well, that could have been the niece,
Anybody.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of her getting pointlessly raped, she could have just been kidnapped at
this
the
is
end.
a canon movie from 1989. She's not going to have agency. I just accept that. I'm just trying to mitigate the damage to this character.
Yeah, can we just remove the rape from the movie?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not asking for much.
Man, for an 80s canon movie, that's asking everything.
I am asking way
asking
too much.
so much, yeah. But like Invasion USA, we keep going back to this movie. That movie, there's no room for anything.
No, because they took it all out.
They cut it. Yeah, they cut it all out.
No, but that's my point. And that's why it works so
let me ask that then. Is that the best canon movie? I think
it's up there.
I think that's in the running for the best canon movie.
It's it's definitely top 3.
Solid.
I think
we did.
All I remember about that movie is there being a little armadillo, and it was really
there was
cute.
an armadillo, and then there was a.
And I was worried that it would get blown up, and then they cut to it, and it was walking away from the explosion. And I went, "All right, this movie's good in my book." I will say this canon movie so far, not killing any animals.
Yeah,
I'm aware of.
I don't think that was. I don't think they were known for that.
But
that's good. You don't want to be known for that because then no one's gonna watch your shit.
Well, it's the John Wick thing about like, well, we can't.
You can only do it once.
Yeah, we can't kill any more dogs, or they're gonna really turn on us.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, actually, director/writer man, you're doing this, and we hate you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's gonna be like,
they got their one in. They got their one in, and as people talked about, 4 movies, and he's still avenging that dog, and we're all like, totally fine.
Makes sense.
Totally fine.
Yeah.
Still with him, man.
Dog.
Still 4 movies later, he's still pissed about that dog.
Yeah,
and right on, absolutely. So they do set up the fight. And they're going to fight the ancient way, which, means wrapping their hands in rope and then...
dipping it in resin and then dipping it in broken glass. I love the guys who are shaking the box with the broken glass.
Another
that
one
shit
of my
was
favorite.
so funny.
That's their job.
Yeah.
And one job, Tony, and you did it.
Now, this is the ancient ways. Are we led to believe that they used Coke bottles in the ancient ways?
I did laugh at the ancient ways, and then it is like... So modern soda bottles and stuff like that. Just whatever glass was lying around.
Whatever we have, yeah. But the labels are removed, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the ancient ways. We
Tis
don't
the ancient ways.
No
sell out.
sponsorships.
Yeah, no sponsorships. In the
it's a
ancient
Coke
ways.
bottle, but they would have had bottles, but not Coke bottles. We don't want to disrespect our ancestors.
Yeah, we had Dr. Pibb back then.
So yeah, I love that though, because you're just going like, well, this is insane. Why is this the ancient ways? Also, my other favorite is like, well, now if he's gonna fight the ancient ways, that means we suddenly have to train him with sticks that are on fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is the way to train for this.
I have no
Well,
idea.
because Tong Po's kicks and punches are as deadly as metal things on fire.
I guess.
I mean, sure. Here's the thing about this movie. You could say almost anything, and it'd be like, yeah, that totally would make sense in this movie.
Sure.
Like all of the bird things I said.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is
Every
like,
single one of them.
Nothing is explained, so it's all just as accurate.
I feel like
all
that's
just as true.
That's a common action shelf thing, right? It's like, well, if you're not going to explain anything anyway, then I guess any of our theories are just as valid as any.
Yeah.
Right?
Schrodinger's plot device.
Yeah, who can care, man? That's on you, movie, for not bothering to explain a single thing.
Yeah. So they get coked up, and then now hold on.
That would have been something. That was the ancient ways. They just ply them with
a bump of coke.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tong Po was using.
I mean, sure, why not?
I mean, actually, I'm kind of surprised that that he's an '80s movie bad guy who doesn't do a bump of cocaine. That is pretty rare,
That's
actually.
true.
That
That is shocking.
They cut that scene.
Yeah,
but yeah, we also had the scene where Freddie Lee goes to the guy above him to say like, I want to bet $1 million on Tong Po.
I fixed the fight. There's no way he can lose.
Right.
And the guy's like, I guess I believe you.
Because they do kidnap the brother and they're gonna kill him.
Yes.
If Van Damme does, what does they talk about? Make it to the end of the fight, but then
he has to make it to the end, but he has to lose.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't make it to the end, his brother dies.
Yeah, that's right, pal.
You gotta go the distance.
But then Jean is gonna save the brother, but he wants Winston's help. But Winston says, I can't. Meaning
why
will.
Can't he?
Meaning, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Does he give a reason why?
I can't remember if he gives a reason why.
Is he just like, I can't cross Freddie Lee?
Yes,
yeah,
I can't cross Freddie Lee.
Yeah.
He's one
John's
of my
like,
best
you're
customers.
a little bitch. And then you're like, damn.
But you're also like, how quickly will he arrive?
Yeah.
In the final
He'll
thing?
show up just in the nick of time.
He will show up just...
And boy, does he have the most canon entrance I've seen this entrance in 4 other canons.
You mean when
guns ablazing?
When just the door to the warehouse comes crashing down?
Yeah,
and then
he literally
he
shoots a doorway into the wall, and
is in silhouette, and it's like, we know who it is.
Obviously.
Yeah, because the whole end of the movie is cross-cutting between the fight between Van Damme and Tong Po, and then the rescue of Van Damme's brother.
Yes.
We get this whole intercutting, and yes, it does involve John putting a guy on a hook, which is pretty cool. And
right on the groin too.
Right on the groin, yeah.
It looked painful, but that's the guy that threw the knife at Kiki, so he fucking deserved it. We all cheered. We were all happy. Best death by far.
By far, yes.
Mostly because there's not really a lot of other notable deaths.
There really aren't a lot of deaths in this
Had the
movie.
brother fucking died, maybe he would have gotten a notable death. But no, he's just some guy.
And so Van Damme is losing the fight, but then of course sees what they've rescued his. Oh, we also should mention in canon fashion, Winston does have an M16 with a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher attached because it's not enough.
Is that the same one that was used in Invasion USA?
Probably.
It might have been, yeah. It's
looked
pretty similar.
Like I saw it go off, and I'm like, I've seen that exact same gun in another movie.
And I think it's in
theirs.
at least one of the Death Wishes as well. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
this
yeah,
was.
yeah,
I think they
definitely.
owned this gun.
They've got 4 guns. Okay,
Yeah.
and they
Well, you've got the dual Uzis from Invasion USA, which is
Of
always
course.
great.
classic.
So, so Van Damme now is like, wait, the only way to win is to lose the glass hand. Oh, there's also, he takes an ugly slice across the gut from the glass.
Sure, classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's that
Flips
Bruce
in-
Lee style.
But he
yeah.
ditches the hand wraps and then proceeds to land every single hit. And,
Well, a couple of things happen. His
Okay.
brother shows up.
yes.
Mhm.
Which,
And
by the
he's
way,
being
he's
carried
not.
in.
I love that. He's not in his wheelchair. Jean and Winston are just carrying him between them.
in a
He's
way
like,
that
"Go,
is not
brother!"
comfortable at all.
No.
So that happens, and then also it's revealed that what is her name?
Oh.
Mai Li.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What was raped by Tong Po.
Oh, yeah, because
and then
Tong
he
Po-
takes off.
That's right, because Tong Po gets line. He goes, "You bleed like Mai Li. She's a good fuck too."
Right, and you're like, oh right, he does have lines. And
But I'm also like, maybe you shouldn't.
maybe you shouldn't. Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
So then he takes off his protection, and he goes to town.
He just goes to town. He lands every single. You get
Literally every
the
attack.
classic martial arts movie, like rapid punches to the gut, and then finally it ends with him kicking him out of the ring,
Yes.
and then beating him against a pillar,
Yes.
and then
Full circle.
also spin kicking Frankie Lee.
He does do that, which I really appreciate.
That was so good because
Or Freddie
he's just
Lee.
like standing
Sorry, yeah.
there and he's like,
you know what?
Yeah, you too.
you know what, you two, fuck this guy.
Well, he's
and
very
everyone's
much-
like, yeah.
He very much the Hulk punching Thor.
Yeah,
energy,
it's
you
a
know?
nice beat. What I like
Yeah.
too is he lands the final kick on Tong Po, and his leg is still up in the air, and then he just swings it over at
Yeah.
Freddie Lee too.
It's very good.
It is great. Tong Po also comes at him with a torch at one point out of desperation.
Oh,
too.
right, forgot about that.
Yeah. And then the movie just ends because it's 1989, and what more do you need, folks?
No, we got
Literally nothing.
it. Yeah,
And we hear the absolute banger of a song, Never Surrender.
yeah.
Never surrender. Oh, it's so good, man. And you still hear that used all the time if you want to do like a parody of a training montage or something like that.
Yep.
You hear it all the time. This is an 80s movie classic song. That's Kickboxer.
Yeah.
I think pretty good just for what it is,
Yeah, I'm hoping that as we go through this month that things just get better. I hope this is a starting point.
Well, I worry when we'll talk about what next week's movie is.
Wait, is next week Cyborg?
Cyborg, yeah, we got, but
Okay.
that's the welcome back Albert Pyun.
Oh fuck! I forgot it was Albert Pyun.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy.
So, well, as you know, it's always my mission to find the most misguided reviews. And this is an interesting one because I do kind of like this movie, but that doesn't mean people can't still be misguided in their love of it.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, this sounds about right. I think this guy speaks to the divorced dad in all of us when he describes this. This comes to us from Jonasat Masafara. I don't know. Jonasat Masafara, IMDb user, and his review is titled "A Lost Art." Yes, they do not make them like that anymore. As martial arts and revenge films are considered, this is pure gold. We all know how it will end. That's why we watch films like Kickboxer, because it does not matter. We all want the underdog hero to overcome all odds and beat the crap out of his ultimate adversary, and this is exactly what happens. And in the end, he also gets the beautiful girl, too. Great fun.
Ooh.
10 out of 10 stars.
10 out of 10.
10
I
out
mean,
of 10.
that is what this is.
I mean,
you know?
he is speaking to the.
he is not inaccurate.
It's not inaccurate, but it is.
description.
It's more the kind of the just like I'm looking for nothing.
Yeah. My standards are very low.
Yeah. But I think, as we've talked about, because of Amazon's changing of how they do their reviews, we won't always have a Bruce winning review.
Fucking tragedy.
It is an
Fucking
absolute tragedy.
travesty.
And so because he didn't watch this, I am going now for just the Amazon opinion, which is what the segment is called if it's not Bruce. So here, but believe me, you still get a perv on here.
Oh, good.
This comes to us from their username is listed only as gift card recipient. Thanks for the gift. Gift card.
Is it GIF? Is it GIF card?
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
That would be good.
Gift card
no.
recipient. No, it's gift card recipient. Who boy, we haven't had one of these in a while, Lisman. Worth it alone for Rochelle.
Gross.
Die.
These vengeance
Jail.
movies are all pretty much the same. In the end, how excited you get is greatly measured by number one, how well the dramatic tension is built up in order that you orgasm your way to relief in the martial arts
Ew.
finale, or two, the quality of that very martial arts finale. Kickboxer was, in my opinion, JCVD's best movie in both regards. Another unintended bonus is the incredibly cute and sexy Rochelle Ashana.
Shut up.
She is not only visually breathtaking, but her cries of support for JCVD in the final battle will bring tears to your eyes in their unabashed sincerity, i.e., great acting job! ! 4 out of 5
Nope.
stars.
Yeesh.
Okay.
Yikes.
Jail.
Yikes.
Send that gift card recipient to jail. Do not collect
Boy,
200.
yeah. if you could be arrested for an online review of a movie, I think that would be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I feel like for like dating profiles, they should also share like if you've ever reviewed something, just so that people can read your reviews. because
Yes.
I would
love
be
that.
good.
I would love that. That as you know, that would value very highly in my wanting of dating someone. It's like, you said,
That's
what
true.
about Kickboxer? Oh, I don't think so. But yes, Lisman, as mentioned, next week from the very same year, we're going to stay in 1989. We're going to stay with the Canon Entertainment Group.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about Cyborg. Changing
Wait,
things up.
Did you guess the budget? Of
Oh,
this
we
Oh,
did
no.
guess the budget
No.
of the movie. Lisman, what's your best guess as to the budget of this movie? 1989. It's canon.
5 million?
Oh wow. I've got a budget listed here of 2.7.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.7 and made 50 million. This was
Oh,
a big
wow.
hit.
That's a
This
big
was
hit for them.
Big
It is.
hit for
Yeah,
Canon.
that done did good.
That was kind of the Canon thing. Was spend a little to make a lot. You know, that was. So yeah, this one worked out for Canon though. This worked on for their model. But yes,
Yeah.
next week we're gonna change things up. This is instead of a fight movie, we're looking at a sci-fi film.
Oh, boy.
1989 Cyborg. So it's a big sci-fi film. So we've got to have Mike Ergoni on the show, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
When we do a movie called Cyborg, it would be irresponsible of us not to invite him.
Now,
He would just show up anyway.
That's true. So for the audience who likes to follow along with us,
Yeah.
obviously they can watch the movie. Where would they watch that?
Where would you watch it? It looks like it's on. Hold on here. Now this is an interesting. I was gonna say the interesting thing about this month is I believe I already own all of these movies.
Oh, okay. So you have no idea.
I
and-
was like, I don't know, my TV? What's up?
yeah. It's gonna be on Hulu, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I believe you can watch it on Hulu. I will, Lisman, as always, I will ask. Do you want to hear the tagline for Cyborg?
Oh, for Cyborg, no.
Well, too bad.
Okay.
He's the first hero of the 21st century, and he's our only hope. Jean-Claude Van Damme is Cyborg.
It's okay. You know.
So is it trying to be Terminator?
I think it's kind of trying to be a cross between Terminator and Mad Max. because
Okay,
it's
gotcha.
Okay.
it's more it's post-apocalyptic. It's more like the Terminator, the robot war parts of Terminator, not the
Well,
modern
like
stuff.
Terminator Salvation. or
I think
whatever?
it's closer to that. And I will
okay.
just say, just to
I
give
don't know.
people a taste of what kind of movie we're in for, Jean-Claude Van Damme's character's name is Gibson Rickenbacker. Gibson Rickenbacker.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the kind of
okay.
film we're dealing with here. But yes,
Great.
this does come to us from Action Shall Frequent, writer-director Albert Pion.
Ugh, God.
What was the other one that he did?
Oh, he directed such classics as Crazy Six.
Oh,
And
Jesus
did we do
That's. I was trying to remember what the one. That's one of
Crazy-
the worst movies
that-
we've seen.
That
this
was
year.
the movie that. Why is it called that?
Yeah.
Because Rob Lowe's character
Oh,
was
right.
named Crazy Six.
Because he
Yeah,
was the
I know,
sixth,
but, like-
the sixth
why?
born
But
in his
why?
family and crazy. Did we do it? I'm trying to think. Did we do it? Is that the only? That feels impossible. That's the only. But I think that is
think
the.
so.
That movie
I think
was
that's
think
the
so,
only
honestly.
Pion we've done. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No,
So-
no. Oh no, he also did. Oh, I'm sorry. Take it back. What a great genius. He also did Blast. Remember Blast when the Olympic
Jesus
swim
Christ. I don't
team
think
was?
you watched that one.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
One
also
of, one
not
of
a
the
great
few.
film.
Yeah, that was a very cheap movie about an attempt to blow up an Olympic swimming pool.
That movie was aggressively boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get Cyborg. Now the thing though is will his boring instincts as a filmmaker be made up for by the presence of Van Damme and the producers of Goran and Globus?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they can at least balance the scales a bit.
Yeah. Also a blissful 86 minutes.
Music to
Ooh.
my ears.
That's what you
John.
want to hear.
Okay, but we remember what happened with Future Kick.
Let's
Which I-
not bring up
Which I
Future
think
Kick.
is still technically the shortest movie we've ever
Isn't
watched.
that like
actually.
83 minutes or
It's
something?
like
it
it's
was-
like 75 minutes. It's
Yeah,
super.
it's-
God, it felt longer than that.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
I think that's
it
still
did.
the shortest movie we've watched, and it was a
Yeah.
painful sit.
We
So
were so excited.
I don't know, but yeah, it's been. Cyborg's another one that's been a long time since I've seen it. So we'll check that out next week on the show. Maggie, thank you as always for joining us.
I'm always here. I'm just usually in the background.
That's true, and you do end up. See, we get your opinions on stuff a lot just based on Lisman's recounting of watching the movies.
Well, because someone has to remember the fucking movie.
Well, that does often come close. There's just like, well, I didn't pick up on that, but Maggie said she noticed.
I've seen so many of the. I can't remember what is in each film.
Sure,
you know
use
what I
that
mean?
as an excuse.
It's just,
Whatever.
well, I also have a terrible memory, but it's just I'm losing my mind. Watching all of these. So.
Oh, why? These are such enriching.
Ay, ¿cómo son?
But that is gonna do it for this week's episode of the Action Shelf. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Michael Lisman.
You didn't want to save that for the Cyborg episode?
Oh, I should have.
Second take.
I'll bring it back next week.
But yeah, until next week, get yourself some action.
The Action Show. The Action Show.